Hey, welcome to The Bottom Half is Red. This is Barron Longstreth. We've got something very unique for you. They're called Red Moments. Very short podcast, 5 to 7 minutes, that will leave you with a tidbit of information and how to apply it to a very busy life. So buckle up, stay tuned. We know you'll enjoy it. When we're dealing with servant leadership, and I believe that servant leadership is the way that God intended leaders to respond.
Right.
That's the way I think it should be done. But this is a very difficult subject in terms of church. I came across this element of healing, right? And when I think of healing, I think obviously biblical, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a servant leader, what we're talking about, can facilitate it. That's what was stated. A servant leader has the ability to be able to facilitate healing. And here's what they mean. They create a safe and supportive environment where people are able to express how they feel and to be able, to find a solution. How do we come up with a solution? Now, it's iffy because we are in a very feel-driven culture. So you have to have a filter.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at servant leadership, I can't think of a greater example than when Jesus Christ sat on the beach, but he is literally cooking up a breakfast, and he takes the time to facilitate and reach into this emotional vulnerability of Peter when Peter is found at the beach. And he says, "Do you love me?" There's this exchange between, and this moment right here is a moment that solidifies Peter's understanding, right?
Yeah.
That I am so vital to the furtherance of this mission. So looking at that example, tell me, how can we facilitate an environment that gives?
I'll try to articulate an answer worth hearing, but you mentioned kind of a safety for people to be honest and express themselves. And it seems to me that we've got to understand that as leadership in the vision, the people are forever a part of that vision. It's not, the people are never divorced from the vision. It's like they have to know where they fit in that vision. Moses looks at them, he says, "I see you with me in that land, not in Egypt," right? We all know he couldn't go in, but that was the vision, right? But the people need to know that they're not some pawn, just being used to get to a destination, but they're a part of that vision as a whole. They're a crucial part of it. And, I think that when it comes to safety and being honest, it just takes investment in people, asking people how their great-grandma's doing in the hospital. They know the situations, and if there's an intimacy there, because when people know that you care about them, they know that you're not just using them to get to a certain point.
Yeah, very transactional.
But they're a part of it, right? You're not a manager, you're a leader, and that's the guy that people are going to follow. I think it just takes time and investment. It's like that saying goes, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And I think that really opens the door for you to be honest with them, because they can rest assured you're looking at them in an objective way as it relates to the bigger picture. And so they'll trust your words more. They'll be like, Jesus has this conversation with Peter. From what I can tell, it's one-on-one, right? If it wasn't, probably no one knew what they were talking about, because it was an interaction between Jesus and Peter. And Jesus didn't need to be specific, because he knew once he spoke, Peter's mind would go back to that moment. And he handles it one-on-one. But do you love me? Lord, you know. Do you love me? Lord, you know. Then feed my sheep. He reiterates the vision. It's all about the sheep.
Wow.
It's all about,
so good.
It's all about getting there, and you're in there, right? You are a part of this vision, Peter, right? So
that's so good. I can't help but think that Jesus not only knew what his disciples' feet looked like, he knew what they felt like. Like he washed them.
Yes.
That is the type of leader that Jesus was. That was the form of a servant. That was that is not the leader's job. I mean, you have to think about that. That is not the leader's job to wash the filth of your past steps away. That's not your job.
Right.
And yet Jesus was saying, nobody in here is above his master.
Mm.
He is letting them know, like, this gets dirty. Like, you're dealing with where people have come from, right? You don't get out of that. They don't just buy into your vision and you get to escape their home life, and you don't get to escape their past, experiences that have really damaged them. You don't get to do that. When you sign on for this kind of thing, you have to be able to really facilitate that environment that we'll call a healing environment, where you're helping people work through that, because at the end of it all, they are worth it.
Yes. And
in our business, it's not about how the end of the year is facilitated. It's about who is on the journey with me. Right? Did they come along with me? Yeah, God gave me this great vision, whatever. And if I'm using people in the process to get there, if I'm using their backs in order to elevate myself, we've got an issue. And people will again, they will find themselves in a non-trusting environment. You're going to have people that won't buy in because they don't trust you. And it's a cyclical process that is so dangerous.